Hello, parents, guardians, students, whoever else might be watching this in the interverse. I am Mr. Wiggin, Brian Wiggin, and I teach sixth grade science. Welcome to Back to School Night. Let's see a little bit about me. I've been teaching here at Hart for, 8 years. I love it. I really enjoy teaching science. I am really glad that I decided one day I woke up and said, I want to be a teacher. That's what I want to do with the rest of my life. And I want to teach science because it's fun and I enjoy it. And I hope that comes across to your students as well. My dad was a science teacher, but I started a little bit later in the game. Didn't realize it was my calling in life until, later. Anyway, let's see. I've got a daughter in fifth grade. I can't believe that next year she's going to be a sixth grader. But yeah, it's wild time. So I can relate with some of you on some things about kids and being in school. Anyways, let's see here. Let's go ahead and start going through this presentation. Oh, look, important links. Here's all of our Google Classroom codes. Your students should already have this. They should already be logged into our Google Classroom. They should have joined our class. This is the Google Meet link that we use. This is for we use the same link for every single meeting that we have, whether it's the days that we're supposed to meet in class or my office hours or our Wednesday advisement class, access class, whatever it's called. But yeah, we just always use the same Google Meet link. I'll share this presentation too to our classroom so that if you want any of this information, you can go look at it later too. Let's talk about our curriculum, Amplify Science. We adopted this officially last year, and we used it all year long. And I really like Amplify. It's a great curriculum for teaching the students how practices and how to think like a scientist and act like a scientist and work like a scientist. So it's very different in that it's not just a whole bunch of knowledge that basically the students are supposed to retain and know and then regurgitate for a test, but it's really teaching them how to work and act and think like a scientist might, which, as they will see, and I'm sure you will see too, it transfers to all other subject matters and to all areas of life. So we're talking about critical thinking, we're talking about evaluating evidence, we're talking about building arguments. It's really great. I enjoy it, and I think it's engaging too. It's really framed in a nice way where there's always these interesting questions that we have. There's great simulations that we use, and it follows a storyline really through every single unit. Where we start with this problem in the beginning, we're trying to solve this problem the whole entire way until we finally get to the end where we say, all right, we think we've solved this problem. Here's our argument for how we think we can solve the problem, etc. It's 100% online this year. Normally we have workbooks, but we don't have those this year, which is great. Luckily it's completely an online format, which is fine for us. Let's see, what does it say? Focuses on teaching students. Yeah, I already kind of talked about all that. Let's look at some fun pictures of Yeah, so when they log on, this is what they see initially. There's all these different units: microbiomes, metabolism. We have this metabolism engineering internship, which is really cool. Traits and reproduction, thermal energy, ocean, atmosphere, climate, weather patterns, Earth's changing climate, and then we round it all off with Earth's changing climate engineering internship. So some good stuff in there. Anyways, let's keep moving forward. Classwork. So I'm posting assignments every single day to Google Classroom. The expectation is that your student will be checking Google Classroom on days that we meet to get their work and on Wednesdays. I will be posting approximately 5 lessons every week, and that's what I would expect your student to complete every single week, about 5 lessons. So again, if they want to, they can spread that out. They can check every single day and do their lessons, one by one per day. But the expectation is that they will check it on the days that we meet and on Wednesdays, and that they will complete basically 2 lessons on the days that we meet and 1 lesson on Wednesdays. If they want to spread that out, that's fine. But the expectation also is that they will have the previous lessons completed by the time we meet together as a class. So we can go over them, so we can talk about them and see if they have any questions, and go over some of the answers. What else here? Most assignments will have, so I'm making videos to go along with every single lesson. So basically, when we meet together as a class online on Google Hangouts, we're just kind of reviewing. The students should already have done the lesson, and I'm reviewing the lesson. I'm answering questions, and maybe giving a preview of the upcoming lesson, going over key concepts that they really should have picked out from the lesson too. But they're doing the lessons on their own. And that's why I made these videos, because the video is basically what I would be doing in class, explaining the directions, explaining some extra things for the lessons. So they have these videos that they're supposed to watch while they're doing the lesson. It walks them through every single part of it. It gives them the directions. It breaks it down for them. And again, offers other pieces of information that they might not get if they just did the lesson online. Could the student do the lesson without the video? Yes and no. Sometimes it would be a lot more difficult, and they might be missing out on some extra information. So if your student, when they're doing work for my class, they should basically have two windows open, one with the video playing and one with the Amplify website, where they will actually access and submit and turn in the lesson. So that is our classwork. What else? Ooh, grading. I'm using a standards-based grading model, which is something that I was introduced to last year. And basically what this means is that a student's grade is based entirely on their assessments or their tests, based on how well they understand the standards. So the students will be completing work, and they will be expected to complete work, and I will keep track of the work that they complete. I will give them feedback on the work that they complete, but that work will not count towards their grade. Their grade will be completely based on their tests. That said, students can retake tests. They can, if they want to improve the score that they got. So if they take an assessment or a test and they are unhappy with the score that they got, they have the opportunity to retake it. How many times? I don't know, as many times as we have time for until the end of the year. And what's going to happen is, for some students, it's going to take them longer to understand a concept. And I don't want to just move on without them understanding it. I want them to grasp, what we've done. So it gives students the opportunity to take more time if they need it, to really gain a mastery over the standards that we're going over in class. And it gives them an opportunity to improve their scores all year long. So I really like this approach. This is the first full year that I've been doing it, but yeah. So there are some guidelines for retaking tests and expectations that I have for students. For instance, you have to have completed all your work ahead of time if you're going to retake the test. If you haven't done all the work, well, that's where we were supposed to have learned everything. So there's things like that. And those are more clearly laid out in the letter that I sent home with students at the beginning of the year, or that I emailed out at the beginning of the year. And also another thing is, if a student does want to retake a test, I will work with them, and we will focus in on the specific standards that they missed and that they're struggling with and having trouble with. So it really just puts the emphasis on, hey, I want you to understand this material. Let's make sure you do. Let's make sure you do by the end of the year. Let's keep moving forward. Absent policy is not as interesting, right? I mean, with all the distance learning. But hey, people usually want to know, what's your absent work policy? And, if students absent, if they miss class, they have the same amount of days to make up the work. Missing assignments, everything's posted on my website. That's where students go to get missing assignments or to get their assignments anyway. So that's always where they should check. And when I say my website, I mean our Google Classroom. It is ultimately their responsibility to find out what they missed. So if a student is absent, I'm not going to email them and say, hey, here's what you missed. Make sure you make it up. They need to go check it out. If they have questions, for sure, they can obviously contact me. How can your student get help? I have office hours Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday from 1:30 to 2. It's possible that once in a while I won't be there, but I'll let the students know ahead of time. Make sure the students attend our actual class meetings. Here's something. I've been noticing that students are dropping in 1, 2, 5 minutes late to our meetings. I want to start those right on time. And if your student is late, they are going to be missing out on the beginning of our class, which sometimes there's important announcements. Sometimes we're going to jump right into the lesson at the beginning of class. Sometimes I'm just being hilarious at the beginning of class. And, I don't want them to miss that either. So encourage your student to log into our class meeting ahead of time. Not just, it's exactly time. Well, I'm going to make sure I go to the bathroom first and get my drink first, and then I'll log in. No, we want to start right on time. Make sure they're watching the assignment videos too, because again, like I said, there's a lot of supplemental stuff in those videos that I add. And then email me if they have questions about anything. They can always email me and I'll try to respond right away. What's next here? Oh, how can you help your student? Hey, check their grades on Q once in a while. I just set up my Q grade portal thing. So there's nothing on there right now. Probably one of the first things that'll show up on there might be the test. I might try to throw some assignments on there from this first unit. It's an introductory unit. So we're all just kind of getting our feet wet here and easing on into this school year. But that'll probably be one of the first things that shows up. Make sure, help your students stay organized. Just check in on them, make sure they know their class codes, what times their classes meet. I still have students coming into the wrong class period, wrong day, and I realize it's new and there's a lot of stuff to figure out, but hey, hopefully we start getting it. Check out their assignments once in a while. See what they're turning in, see what they're doing, ask them what they're doing. I'll give you a hint. We're talking about fecal transplants right now. Ask your student about that. They should have lots of information for you. Try to help them stay positive about school, encourage them. It's different. It's different. We all know that. We're all in the same boat. But just I always have that on my slides, just making sure they stay positive. Sometimes students can feel bad about how they're doing in school, they're not getting it or whatever. So just really try to encourage them and don't put too much pressure on them. Oh man, I always have that on my slides too. Lastly, note from administration, they would like me to let you know I've received a copy of all relevant 504s and IEP paperwork for your students. If you have any additional questions though, and I've had some parents email me already, go ahead and let me know. Email me if you have any questions or concerns, or just anything you want me to know about your student. That'd be great. Any information is helpful information. Hey, my contact information right there. You have my website, not my website, all of those Google Classroom codes. But yeah, best way to contact me. I'll try to get back to you as soon as I can. Sometimes I'm like that, getting back to an email. Sometimes it takes me a little while, but usually shouldn't be more than a couple days. So, hey, thanks for watching, and yeah, enjoy the rest of your night.